Show you off in Lambos out on Collins. I be.
Hello friends, welcome to Everything You Need. In the series of DNP, that is Data Networking Protocols, we are at a large extent from error detection to the TCP and UDP. Please check the latest videos. Now let us see about congestion control. What do you understand by this slide? The congestion is nothing but that some data traffic or some traffic jam. Your exertion is right. The focus of congestion control is only based on or majorly based on data traffic. In congestion control, we try to avoid data congestion. Congestion is nothing but the traffic jam, or the congestion can be defined as the traffic jam of the data that is from the transmitter to the receiver in a channel. Before talking about the congestion control, let us discuss about the data traffic. Data traffic can be of three types with respect to time. With respect to time, the data might be at a constant rate, might be varying with respect to data, but constant with respect to time, and is a bursty data rate. That is, at a point of time it is very high, when at a point of time it is very low, and at some distance of time there is no data traffic in the control. Now let us see about congestion. Congestion in a network may occur if the load on the network is high. That is, the number of packets sent to the network or channel is greater than the capacity of the network. Congestion control refers to the techniques and mechanisms that can either prevent congestion before it happens or remove congestion after it has happened. That is, congestion control can have two types. That is, a mechanism that would prevent the congestion before it happened or remove congestion after it has happened. In general, we can divide congestion control mechanisms into two broad categories. Those are open loop congestion control techniques. Those are prevention. Prevention is these mechanisms either prevent congestion before it happens. Closed loop congestion control. These are the techniques that remove congestion after it has happened or gives the information to the sender or the receiver about the congestion happened. Now let us see different types of open loop congestion control techniques. Congestion control is broadly divided as open loop and closed loop. Here are the different types of policies that we are going to discuss in this topic on open loop congestion. Retransmission policy, window policy, acknowledgement policy, discarding policy, admission policy. Let us see them in detail. First one is retransmission policy. It is the policy in which retransmission of the packets are taken care. If the sender feels that a sent packet is lost or corrupted, the packet needs to be retransmitted. We have already seen this topic of retransmission of policies or retransmissions of packets in the concept of flow control. This is an example from the flow control, that is stop and wait ARQ. In this, the data sent by the sender would be received to the receiver and the receiver would acknowledge for the received packets. This could happen only in the timeout period. If the acknowledgement was not received by the sender in the timeout period, he retransmits the packets to the sender. This transmission may increase the congestion in the network because when the acknowledgement was not received to the sender from the receiver in the point of time, he again starts to retransmit the packets, which would increase the data in the channel, which could majorly leads to the congestion. To prevent congestion, retransmission timers must be designed to prevent congestion and also be able to optimize efficiency. The meaning of this point is, here the timeout period is very low or somewhat very less. By this, when the sender sends the data and while the receiver is sending the acknowledgement packets, when the timer is completed, he retransmits the packets by which the data in the channel would increase. So we have to design the timeout period in such a way that this could be somewhat more or might be equal to the time taken by the sender to transmit and the receiver to give the acknowledgement to the sender. So an example for this would be a stop and wait ARQ, which was discussed in the flow control. Now let us say the next policy, that is window policy. Window policy. The type of window at the sender side may also affect the congestion. Several packets in the go back and window are recent, although some packets may be received successfully at the receiver side. This could be understood by this one, that is here we are sending the several packets, that is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is an example taken from the go back and ARQ window technique from the flow control series. Here he was going to send the packet 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, out of which there is a problem with the third packet. So the receiver will give a negative acknowledgement for the third packet. After the third one, he discard all the packets that was received. He doesn't even receive the packets if it is a successful transmission also. So in this case, the discarding packets will make the sender to retransmit these discarded packets, which could increase the data that is to be transmitted in the channel, which primarily leads to the congestion in the channel. So the duplication may increase the congestion in the network and making it worse condition. Therefore, the selective repeat window condition should be adapted, as it sends the specific packet that may have been lost or corrupted. This is an example taken from selective repeat algorithm, that is, when there is a set of sequences that is sent to the receiver by the sender, when there is a problem with the one packet, he rejects the packet or discards the packet and successfully transmit or receive the remaining packets, and sends a negative acknowledgement for the packets that there is a problem with the packet. So the sender would make his window size in such a way that he could send the negative acknowledgement packet and the remaining packets after the continuation of the first series. So in this way he could send only the required packets, and in this way we can use the given channel in a intelligent manner, in a good manner. So this is the window policy. Let us see the next policy, that is on discarding policy. A good discarding policy adopted by the routers is that the routers may prevent congestion and at the same time partially discards the corrupted packets or less sensitive package and able to maintain the quality of service at the message. This is nothing but an example with respect to the router. Let us example that there is a router at this position and the packets are going to be transmitted from the sender to the router and to the receiver after that. So by in the place of router, he should maintain a discarding policy by which the message received from the sender to the router, he would check the policy by applying some algorithm to ensure that the given packet or transmitted packet is very essential or it might be discarded even in the case of congestion. So let us say an example. In the case of audio file transmission, routers can discard less sensitive packets to prevent congestion and maintain the quality of the audio file. That is, the routers can discard the less sensitive packets like some music file, some last music one, that end card size, and some disturbances around the audio file by which the main data could not be corrupted, and as the data was reduced, he can prevent the congestion. So let us see the next policy, that is acknowledgement policy. Since acknowledgement are also the part of the load in the network, the acknowledgement policy imposed by the receiver may also affect the congestion. That is, you could understand this with this an example. Here in the stop and wait ARQ, every packet received from the sender to the receiver will be acknowledged in the given period of time. That is, Here the acknowledgement would also be a packet of transmission which could be a load in the network. So here we should take the policy in such a way that several approaches can be used to prevent congestion related to the acknowledgement. The receiver should send acknowledgement for n packets rather than sending an acknowledgement for a single packet. That is, the single packet acknowledgement condition was explained in the stop and wait ARQ. But to get the usage of retransmission policy in such a way that acknowledgement policy, we can use the technique of selective repeat or go back ARQ, in which only one acknowledgement was given or only less number of acknowledgement was given for a series of data or set of data, by which the congestion control can be taken. The receiver should send an acknowledgement only if it must be sent a packet or a timer expires. That is, the receiver must send a packet as an acknowledgement only if it is necessary. That is, after the transmission of the whole packets or when there is a problem in the network. Otherwise, the receiver should make sure to not to send any acknowledgement which could increase the data rate in the network. An example for this is an go back ARQ and select ARQ. Now let us see the next policy, that is admission policy. In admission policy, a mechanism should be used to prevent congestion. Switches in a flow should first check the resource requirement of the network flow before transmitting in further. If there is a chance of congestion or when there is a congestion in the network, the router should deny establishing a virtual network connection to prevent the further congestion. The admission policy would be somewhat equal to the discarding policy. In discarding policy, the router will discard the packets or the data when there is a chance of congestion. Here in the admission policy, the router will check whether the data is essential for the transmission or without this packet can the transmission be happened without any problem for the quality of the data. So when there is a problem, the router should deny establishing a virtual network connection to prevent the further congestion. So all these above policies are adopted to prevent congestion before it's happening. As we have seen, these all are the open loop congestion control techniques. These open loop congestion control techniques are used to prevent the congestion. But when there is a congestion, we can use the policies for closed loop congestion. Those are back pressure, choke packet, implicit signaling and explicit signaling. Let us see each of them in detail. First one is closed loop mechanism, that is back pressure. A back pressure is nothing but when there is a transmission from the source to the destination. You can see an arrow mark of the data flow from the source to the destination. We know that from when there is a transmission from the source to the destination, the data must be passed over several computers or several routers where there is a millions of data to be transmitted at a point of time. At any sequence of time when there is a congestion, we know that there is a buffer storage inside any router or the data transmitting technique. So when there is a happening of congestion, first they will store the incoming packets from the source in their buffer storage. When in the back pressure technique, when there is a full of its buffer storage in the congestion packet, it would give a back pressure to the previous packet. That is, for example, there is a congestion at the packet 3. So it would give a back pressure to the packet 2 stating that there is a congestion at me and my buffer was also full. So please take care of the incoming data from the source. So the second packet would give the assurance that please clear your congestion In the meanwhile, I would take the incoming data and store the data in my buffer. In the same way, when there is a full of buffer from the packet 2, this would give a back pressure to the packet 1, stating the same as there is a congestion at the points 2 and 3, and the buffer storage are also full. So in the same way, one would give the assurance to clear their packets in the buffer. Meanwhile, it would take the chance of storing the packets in its buffer. When there is a full of buffer of the first one, it would give back pressure to the source, stating that there is a congestion in the channel from several packets. So please drop down the data transferring speed, or please stop the transmission for a while, so that the congestion could be cleared. In this way, back pressure technique would be used for sending the information to the source about the congestion in a network. Let us see one more technique, that is choke packet. In this, the packet which was having the congestion would use its buffer to store the incoming data. Meanwhile, it will try to recover the congestion. When there is no chance of clearing the congestion, after filling up its buffer, it would give an information directly to the source by stating a choke packet. Here, the data would be traveled from source to the destination and the destination to the source. That is, source to destination is the packet data flow, and the destination to the source, stating that an acknowledgement. When there is an acknowledgement from the destination to the source, this choke packet would be added to the acknowledgement packet as an extra packet, which would give an extra pressure on the network. But this choke packet will intimate the source that there is a congestion at the point of 3, and so that you please reduce the transmission rate so that this congestion could be cleared. In this way, choke packet would intimate the source without giving any pressure on the previous packets or any problem to the previous packets. You can see their buffers are clear till now. Only the congestion packet would only having its buffer as full. Now let us see the next one, that is implicit signaling. Implicit signaling is a mechanism used in closed loop mechanism. In implicit signaling, there is no communication between the congested node and the sources. This was an example for the back pressure, in which congestion packet is this one and the source is this one. There is no direct communication between the source and the congestion packet. The source guesses there is a congestion in the network, because when the sender sends several packets and there is no acknowledgement for a while, one assumption is that there is a congestion. That is, the sender is continuously transmitting data, but it was not getting even one acknowledgement for the transmitted packet. So the main assumption that the sender could assume that there might be a congestion, so that the acknowledgements were congested in the traffic. So let us stop the transmission of the packets for a while so that the congestion could be cleared. This implicit signaling was broadly divided. Explicit signaling. The next one is explicit signaling. Explicit signaling, that is, if a node experiences congestion, it can be explicitly send a packet to the source or the destination to inform about the congestion. The main difference between the choke packet and the explicit signaling is that the signal is included in the packets that carry data rather than creating different packets as in case of choke packet technique. That is, in the case of choke packet, here an explicit packet is created by which an extra packet was created, by which there is a data traffic increase. So without creating any new packet from the acknowledgement packet to the destination, from the destination to the source, this would have is a packet in the header of the acknowledgement stating that for the column of a choke. So in the choke packet column, this would highlight it with 1 so that the source could understand there is a congestion in the middle. That is, express signaling can offer in either forward or backward direction, because in the forward conditions, when there is a going from the third packet, that is in the forward direction, that is from data flow direction, when there is a congestion here, this would give information to the destination stating that there is a congestion at the point 3, and in the backward signaling, this could give an information about its congestion to the source in the backward direction. In the same way, when the data flow is in this destination to the source direction, this direction could be the backside, and the congestion to this direction would be the front side. Let us see them with a greater illustrations. That is forward explicit congestion notification. Here let us see that the data transmission is from the sender to the receiver. So when there is a congestion at this packet, this congestion packet would give an information in the forward direction to the receiver stating that there is a congestion at the packet. In forward signaling, signal is sent in the direction of the congestion. The destination is warned about congestion. That is, the receiver is warned about the congestion. The receiver, in this case, adopt policies to prevent further congestion. That is, stating that the transmission from the receiver to the sender, giving an information to the sender that there is a congestion in the packet, specific packet. Now let us see in the backward direction, that is backward explicit congestion notification, BECN. When there is a congestion at this switch or a pack and at this node, this would give a backward pressure or backward information to the sender stating that there is a congestion at this specific packet. In backward signaling, a signal is sent in opposite direction of the congestion. The source is warned about the congestion and it is need to slow down the transmission of the packets or stop the transmission for a while. In this way, the congestion control techniques were used when there is a congestion or to clear the congestion. Thank you for watching. Like, share and subscribe to Everything You Need. Thank you.